Welcome to episode 203 of the Red Dirt Agronomy Podcast. I am Dave Deacon. We took the show on the road this week, and we're coming to you from the Noble County Fairgrounds in Perry. In fact, you'll probably hear the train in the background at some point, where we sat down with the presenters of Oklahoma State University Extension's Spring Forage Clinic. We talked nitrates and prussic acid with Oklahoma State's area livestock extension specialist for the western part of the state.
Basically what happens when that cow's rumen is overwhelmed with this nitrate, then it doesn't allow, it gets through the blood, it gets into the blood, and then it doesn't allow the oxygen to be carried by the blood. And so if you were there at the time of death and you were able to see the blood, it would be dark brown,
right? Because
there would be no oxygen in it.
Right.
Is that correct from a chemistry standpoint, Brian? Okay.
Dana Zook. We also talked forages with Oklahoma State University's area agronomy extension specialist for the western part of the state.
Yeah, because you can't grow roots if you don't have any above ground growth, and you're just shooting yourself in the foot if you're just trying to keep taking and not giving. So,
Josh Bouchon, Noble County Extension Director.
That depends upon the number and the crop and the environment, and there's a lot of things going on, but the first test is find out how much it is.
Yeah.
And just because you test it today and it shows a number, tomorrow it's going to show a different number.
Chad Webb weighs in on how his county is preparing for potentially another year with very little rainfall. And finally, Oklahoma State University Extension Precision Nutrient Management Specialist, Dr. Brian Ernell.
Y'all know we can drive by ground that they didn't divest. They're now hanging it, still got the cattle out there, and it's grubbed down. And that stuff is, it's almost doomed to failure if they don't get those numbers off, because they're stocked at a population for a good year.
Talks about what he's been chatting with producers across the state about. Needless to say, we will be covering a lot of interesting stuff in this episode, and you will be able to find information on all of it on our website, reddirtagronomy.com. The doctors really do enjoy hearing from you and answering your questions, so if you have one about soil or crop production, jump over to reddirtagronomy.com and leave your question there, or send us an email directly, podcast@reddirtagronomy.com, and we will discuss your question on the next podcast. Now, I do need to add that we do appreciate the messages that we've already received, and the doctors will answer them in the next episode, which we will have them all together once again, so be sure and stay tuned. We kick off episode 203 with an update on how things are going just above the plow pan with Dr. Brian Ernell. You are listening to the Red Dirt Agronomy Podcast.
I've been able to be in three corners so far: southwest, northwest, northeast. We have that nice band that's cutting that I-35, I-40 corridor down. And there's that thin margin where on one side of it's had 3 inches, on the other side it's had 6 to 10. So our northeast, where they're pushing a lot of fescues, the Bermuda grass is starting to green up. They've got a lot of moisture. Southeast is flooded. A lot of the in-laws are showing pictures of a lot of flooding down there, McCurtain County, LaFleur County. And so we've got a lot of rains, looking at trying to handle that. The fescues are coming along well. Bermuda grass is starting to green up in the eastern part. Going to have a lot of potential. They've filled up their soil moisture. As we transition west, our southwest had some decent spring rain, so we have some great looking wheat pasture out there. A lot of the wheat pasture, wheat fields, a lot of the pasture ground got some moisture. Not really building a lot of subsoil profile, but they got some moisture into it. And unfortunately, as we transition up to the northwest, by the time you get to the panhandle, it's just obsolete. There's just nothing left out there. So we're looking at a whole range of, it's all about where you're at, right? Our eastern part, we're looking at full potential, really needing to look at nitrogen management, getting our nitrogen down to try to build up that hay reserve, get our fields back in after last year, which is a struggle. Southwest, we have potential, but we're on that verge with the Southwest. We've got our temperatures starting to spike back up. We're getting warmer days. Our wind speeds are kicking back up. And so what moisture is there is starting to move rapidly. We've probably got Bermuda grass kicking up green down in the southwest corner. In the northwest, we're really looking at what do we do if it doesn't rain the next 30 to 45 days. So in the northwest, we're now don't put a lot of nitrogen down. Don't force that fact. Let's take some soil samples, know where we're at on P&K, but move forward in that direction.
Today is actually Bring Your County Educator to Podcast Day, and of course we have my county educator, Chad Webb from Noble County, and Chad, how are things looking in God's country right now?
Poor.
Yeah.
Wheat's turning yellow.
Mm-hmm.
We need rain.
Yeah.
Pastures are not looking good. Very few positives right now.
One thing, and I really felt bad saying this to several of my neighbors here in Noble County, but we were very fortunate in that rain earlier this week. We were in that band that caught that training rain southeast of Perry, and we got 0.8 of an inch of rain. People up in northern Noble County didn't get that. There's been a lot of variability with whatever rain we have, and you can almost see it, field by field as you look across the county.
Yes, even if you go to Mesonet, which is at Sumner, we're I think at 0.3, something like that.
Yeah. And you are actually hosting the road show today. I'll let Brian introduce the crew here because as part of the road show, you guys really need T-shirts that say, the insert name here, Extension Road Show. But you guys have been traveling.
We had road shows in the past, and we don't need those names.
Yeah, there's some
sorghum
names
tours.
Of them. Yeah,
sorghum tours.
So, and this road tour wasn't on me. This is actually Dana Zook, our Northwest area animal scientist out of Enid, and Josh Bushong, our Northwest area, Western area agronomist out of Enid. Dana did all this, put together a really good program. Really got all the counties together and worked on that one, and I'm just happy to be along for the ride.
Well, now in the background, you're going to hear the Burlington Northern.
Mm-hmm.
I hear it.
You hear it?
Yeah.
We're at the Noble County Fairgrounds because there is that train. I mean, we're two major arteries of trainage go right through Perry here, so you're going to hear that intermittently throughout the podcast. But Dana and Josh, what's been the message you've been talking to Oklahomans about?
Well, obviously, we kind of spurred everything around the ongoing drought where we are in northwest Oklahoma, like Brian was saying. And obviously, hay supplies are still tight and been getting tighter the whole winter. So guys are looking at what kind of crop can I grow to get some hay made. Mm-hmm. So we've been talking a lot about the annual forages, the forage sorghums, the sorghum Sudans, and the hay grazer types, and also just our perennial pastures as well. Just what can we do to get those up and going to get some forages for these animals.
Yeah, so a couple of things we've focused on. Of course, Bermuda grass is kind of what we focused on here in Noble County. Farther counties out west, we did some focus on native grass. So we had Dr. Laura Goodman at several of our western counties, Alfalfa County, Beaver County, Harper County, and then in Dewey County last week. Focused a lot on stocking rate, range management, cedar trees, and how they can cause their own drought. So a lot of management factors, not necessarily ones that can be solved here very quickly. As Brian, he does a lot of fertility that can make a really quick change if we have some rain, but it's always a long-term management thing, and so we just thought it would be good to focus on some of those, drought, forage type things.
So Dana, what has been some of the big questions you've been getting as you've been across northern and western Oklahoma?
So we have I will be honest, I don't know if you guys have input, but it seems like producers are most interactive in the fertility part and about understanding nitrates and prussic acid, because we had a summer, right, Chad, this past year that had so much forage that was high in nitrates, high in prussic acid, and they're kind of confusing, and so I think producers have appreciated kind of that refresher on some of that.
And there's a lot of questions and misconceptions about it, and the differentiation between the two, the prussic and nitrates. And like she said, going back last summer, we've had several samples.
Well, OSU, the soil testing lab, Highland opened up basically, was it free or reduced cost?
Reduced
cost.
Yeah,
Reduced
I think
cost. So. And I know they were getting 10 times as many samples on a daily basis. So the state really took advantage of that drought assistance, or however you want. How many more samples do you think you processed last year than you would have?
I probably doubled it.
You probably doubled it. But you were showing me, Chad, your high numbers weren't near as high. I saw some 25,000s and some 30,000s on the ppm, which will kill stuff. Just so we know that
as far as
number,
nitrates go, right?
Not
Ryan?
nitrates,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
On the nitrates, that's bad numbers. But Chad's numbers weren't near 5,900. Was about
5,900 was my highest in 2022. When we go back to 18 and 19, we're talking about 11, 12,000, stuff like that, which kind of surprised me. Being this year, I thought we'd have had been really high, but we weren't.
Do you think it's because, and this is a question I've had from educators, do you think it's because they were just dry? It was just dry, and so that plant wasn't taking that nitrate up as quickly or as efficiently? Because that's what I've seen out west. Not as many high nitrates.
So with the whole nitrate toxicity, and Josh and I kind of bounced on this earlier, is that to get the nitrates into the plant, we had the question, how many pounds of nitrogen do I apply not to have nitrate? Well, it's not a question you have an answer to. You never know. But to get nitrates in the plant, you have to have water movement. So you, have to have nitrates in the soil, free nitrates, and you have to have water being taken up into the plant. And plants will take up nitrate in excess because it's a mass flow. Wherever water's coming into the plant, it is pulling nitrate. So, Dana, if you're always dry and you don't have that excessive amount of water, you're not getting a lot of free nitrates in there. And so you need the overaccumulation of nitrate and then a stress. So the worst year for nitrate would be one of those years where we have a really nice spring where you got a lot of fertility put out, and then it just shuts off in June or July, and it just gets extremely hot and dry. So you had that early season vigorous growth, and then it just shuts off, and that's when you're going to see those really, really high values.
Kind of key word there, heat and drought.
Heat and drought.
So just a stress plant, it can be anything for fertility to pest, insects, weeds, diseases even. And it's not just soil fertility, because we even had guys bring in samples that it was heavily fertilized, and the results came back low, and we had some that didn't put out any fertilizer, and they came back sky high. So it's not just soil fertility, it's just because we're looking at failed corn, failed milo. And another interesting thing I saw, where at least going out to the Panhandle, we were bringing in a bunch of corn hay from Nebraska and stuff. It didn't have any nitrate issues, but all the stuff we had locally we're steering guys away from it.
So you mentioned kind of the perfect storm for nitrates being everything's great, everything's green, everything's lush, you're fertilizing all of that. If you don't have that going in, would we still have that potential across the state if it doesn't green up and we stay in drought? I mean, is that still a possibility?
There's always, so I'd put it this way, is that if you have a stressed crop, get the nitrate test, because it's cheaper than dead cows.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, just because you don't have all the conditions that you would think to, that $6 test, that's a lot cheaper than feet up in the air on one or more, or even a single abortion.
Right, aborted calf.
I mean, that $6 is awfully cheap for not having a calf on the ground.
Right.
Whenever you mentioned that the numbers were a little bit, they weren't as high as what you were afraid of in Noble County this last year. How many other opportunities do you think that there were that people didn't take advantage of those tests, that just had dead cattle or were not taking advantage of what the Extension Office has?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I've heard dead cows, but that person that I was told never came in.
Right.
And I've heard that a lot of things, but until they come in, I have no idea. But I tested several in-house testing, and of course it would show a color, so we'd send it off.
Mm-hmm. And that's one thing Dana was talking about, is on the county level, it's kind of the triage, the entry level. Yes, it's yes or no, and then from there you need to send it on to the state level to be tested. So say you test yes, and is there a waiting period? Because I know it's not a, hey, we got your test done today. You want to restrict the cattle off of that, but how long?
That depends upon the number and the crop and the environment, and there's a lot of things going on. But the first test is find out how much it is.
Yeah.
And just because you test it today and it shows a number, tomorrow it's going to show a different number.
Right.
So you test it like with the drop test. Is that what you're talking about, Chad, or are you talking about sending it off to the lab?
Sending it off to the lab.
Okay. Okay. Right.
And that's where we had some issues where guys were wanting to keep bringing in tests to figure out when to lay their hay down.
Mm-hmm.
And like Chad said, it swings, overcast day, sunny day, cold day, hot day, day to day, where you grab the samples. The best thing we found is just roll it up and then take your sample so you know what you got, because it doesn't change once it's in the bale.
And they're going to use it anyway.
Yeah.
They're going to use it in some way. They're not going to not harvest it, in my opinion.
The guy next to me said, well, I burned it. And I thought,
Really?
Are you just...
Really? Oh, gosh, don't get me started on this, Dave. Okay, so you heard me, really? Are you going to burn it? What?
Right, yeah. He said, well, I burned 5 of them. And I thought, did you?
5 bales? That's all he burned?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. Well, and he could tell whenever it was... They burn a green color whenever they're, no, they're not
Oh,
colored.
jeez.
Tough audience. No respect. No respect.
That's a good one.
There's the wives' tales. I mean, those people that say that you put the hay up and then if you leave it there 5 years, the nitrates will go away.
Right.
No, that won't happen.
Well, and that's one thing I found interesting in listening to your talk was I had no idea that it would be that could gas off or it could transfer.
That's
prussic acid.
Prussic acid.
Well, I'm
Yes.
jumping.
Get your
But
Oh, you're
Stuff
jumping. Okay,
Yeah.
so sorry.
that's my fault. I
Stay in
How
your
dare
line.
you.
turn your page now to prussic acid. Okay. Now here on your prussic acid page, we've got, but just the fact, Peach, the fact that it would, it would gas off. I had no idea about that.
Yeah, so that's a perfect example of blending those two things.
Right.
All the producers do that.
Yep.
So yes, it will kind of disperse for the most part, but prussic acid will disperse.
Prussic, yep.
And nitrates does not change after you cut it. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Even when the strings are falling off and you can't move it, it might as well spread it out as fertilizer. Right. Is that a good option?
Yeah, no. So when hay's prevalent, I've had folks use that as fertilizer or put it over areas where they knew rough ground and they put it in. So yeah,
Right.
that high nitrate. I mean, you're talking nitrate levels are high enough to kill something. That's why you won't feed it. That's a high concentration. We're talking
Right.
percentages of N. And one of the things I like to remind folks on the nitrogen side, and this is one of the things that you're talking about on that droplet that you often find nitrate even at low levels, is that we got to remember when we start talking about feed and feed quality, when we talk protein, that's nitrogen.
Mm-hmm.
And so now there's amino nitrogen, there's ammonium nitrogen, there's nitrate nitrogen, but all those go into that protein value that we have. So just thinking that most of our forages have protein, that means there's some level of nitrate. So that means that there's a good chance you might trigger the droplet test, even though the nitrate's low. So Chad, I was going to ask you the percentages. I know you're looking at me. The percentages. let's say you had 10 folks do the drop, or 10 folks get color with the drop test. Are all 10 in your experience going to send it off, or do you have to kind of argue with that, or what's that?
I'd say 50% are going to send it off.
Really?
What are the other 50% going to do? Just feed it to stalker or something that's lower risk?
They're going to find something to do. They're going to save that $6.
$6.
Mm-hmm.
And we had some that would come back in a couple of days just to see if the next plants they grabbed were good.
Mm-hmm.
But then they're delaying. It can go on. It went on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, that plant is so mature.
Oh, yeah.
Then
Yeah.
you're like, what have I done?
So what we have is when that plant's growing and we're getting that nitrate accumulation, it's getting in that plant and it's staying as nitrate because there's not enough moisture in the plant for it to convert to ammonium and amino acids because you're under this drought stress. So if you sample it and your weather only gets hotter and drier, you're basically shrinking the moisture out and you're increasing the concentration of nitrate in that plant. The only way it's going to go down is if maybe your humidity goes up, you get a rain, something along those lines, that you're going to get it diluted because it's more of a dilution factor at that point. Or you can remove it or move it to other parts of the plant or turn it into ammonium. And so, yeah, the whole waiting on it, and unless you know there's rain going to come in the future, you might as well go ahead and get it done now and then deal with it. Get that sample, know exactly how much you have in it to figure out, okay, am I going to grind it? Am I going to blend it? Can I just feed it? Is it good enough just feed to stalkers and not worry? Just keep it out of the cows.
Well, that's what I heard from another the guy next to him. He said he just, if he gets into that situation, he'll just blend it and he'll condition them to it, I guess, and then because that's lost forage otherwise.
And we have a calculator that we can help producers do that. Say you only should use 20%. Now, if they're going to blend it, not every producer can do that.
Right.
But Earl Ward created that calculator. He's like the king of calculators. So
yeah, going back to blending, that's not put one of these bells out.
No,
and then
no,
five
no,
Right.
that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about like actually chopping it up and blending it together.
Well, why not? Aren't they selective? I thought they would know
my
better.
gosh.
Every fifth bale, you make sure that
Oh
one's
my
your.
gosh.
I think
No,
that's how it
I've
works.
been told that you could put one high nitrate out with two lows, and they know best enough to avoid the high nitrate.
Is it high nitrates because it's high in pigweed, or like they will avoid that?
You make that face, Chad, but this is what we all four of us live in this world. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes. Yes, I do.
That's where you're
Sorry.
doing natural selection, the thing you're heard of to get the smart ones.
or at least those that just don't like the pigweed.
Yeah.
Now, I just to clarify, people have said, "Oh, nitrates and all of that." What's wrong with that? The way I was told this, Glenn Selk explained this to me many years ago, and I've slept since then. But it's essentially suffocating the cow because of the transfer of oxygen.
Right.
Am I correct?
Yeah,
in
correct. Yeah. So with nitrates. Now here I'm getting into chemistry.
Oh,
Look over at Brian.
right.
Oh
Let's
my
roll it
gosh.
now.
So nitrite is actually nitrite poisoning. So it's basically what happens when that cow's rumen is overwhelmed with this nitrate. Then it doesn't allow. It gets through the blood. It gets into the blood, and then it doesn't allow the oxygen to be carried by the blood. And so if you were there at the time of death and you were able to see the blood, it would be dark brown,
Right.
Because there would be no oxygen in it.
Right.
Is that correct from a chemistry standpoint, Brian? Okay. And then prussic acid. Do you want me to talk about that, Dave?
Sure.
That's an opposite. So again, we overwhelm the system with the prussic acid. Eat. And all of a sudden, that cow will keel over and die. It's more. I almost said tragic. It is tragic. It happens more quickly.
Yeah.
But that is, there's a lot of oxygen in the blood because the organs of the animal can't take it up. And so if you look at the blood of an animal that's died from prussic acid, it's bright red.
Right.
Both are basically asphyxiation. So
What are the signs of nitrate poisoning or prussic acid? Is there anything you would just observe by driving by at the normal 60 miles per hour?
respiratory distress.
Right.
I mean, like open mouth breathing, stumbling around. Like just imagine being choked to death. I mean, if you think about that, like just not getting enough air.
Or really, I mean, you could look at somebody that's on the strip after about 2:00 in the morning.
I was just going to step away from that one, Dave. You went there.
She named all of the
Respiratory distress.
Right,
Like,
right.
Mm-hmm.
well, okay, right,
But like you said, it might be gradual for the nitrate issue.
right.
And then sometimes the prussic acid can be instant.
yes.
We've seen cows with their head stuck through a fence where it gassed off when they chewed it, and it was pretty instant.
That's amazing.
Well,
So that's,
most of the time it goes through the rumen. Basically, it works through the rumen. So yeah, it will be there it will overwhelm them very quickly.
yeah.
Yeah, and so they will be stuck like that.
And that's another question when we have a lot of samples come to the lab, and one of the first things we ask, are you grazing this or are you haying it?
Right.
And if they did have concern with prussic on haying, usually we don't have any issues because our equipment has crimpers on it, and we have physical destruction of the leaves and stems, and it kind of gasses off in the windrow. It's not 100% safe. There's some K-State research saying there could still be some concerns, but by and large, in hay, we're more concerned about nitrates. Grazing, we're worried about both.
Yep.
What is the time between cutting and baling to feeding? Time that prussic acid gasses off.
By the time it's dry enough to bale.
Yeah.
Say that biological activity is done,
Yeah.
right? Is that a good way to
You have
think
the
about it?
crushing of the cells, which
Yeah.
then helps open up, and you have immediate gassing of some
Cyanide gas.
cyanide gases. So that's pretty immediate on the crushing, the drying, is that the moisture is wicked off. Then you have a little bit of biological action that continues on, but I would say it's by dry down. If you're baling it too wet, then you might have some problems. You also have fire problems.
So those are just some of the questions that you've been getting on the Northwest tour here. But what should producers be thinking about as they're moving forward through this drought? Is it are we calling it a continuing drought? Are we getting out of drought? Are we just trudging forward? What should producers say? Say a guy in Noble County, just because Chad's here. Say a guy in Noble County bought some land, has a few acres, going to run some cattle, has some recovering pasture land that's been overgrazed before he got it, and is wanting to make a go of it. What does the outlook look like for that poor fella?
More poor.
More poor. Well, yeah, I mean,
Not this year.
right.
That's kind of the first question we need to ask is, instead of how much forage and all that, is how many heads should you have on your operation?
A few acres, Dave. I mean, what's our annual average stocking rate? 8 to 10. A few? What are you talking about? 2?
Oh, 70-ish.
Oh, okay. Here
give
we go.
or
That's
take.
good. Okay.
And
In that 70s, there's about 30 llama.
30 acres of cedar trees.
You got a lot of
not
those
as
mini
many.
short
Not as
horns.
many. I killed a lot of cedar
Okay,
trees.
all right, so we're talking about you.
I mean, this
Okay.
person killed a lot of
Okay.
cedar trees.
This person I know
right,
really closely.
very close. Well, it's in Noble County. I
Okay.
wanted to
Yeah.
make sure Chad has some input on this.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, this. What advice do you have for that person that has recovering pasture land and has a couple of cattle and is wanting to make a little hay if possible while running cattle in another pasture?
I would say to jump off a stocking rate, and you guys, agronomists can agree with me. You can agree with me.
You will.
Yes, ma'am. We will. Okay.
But doesn't that pasture have to recover during the growing season?
Yeah.
So it's not rest. So we're not going to rest like in December. We're going to take a rest.
Right.
We're going to pull the cattle off of our ground in December. It's going to make everything better. No, it needs to rest and get more water into the soil during the growing season, right? So we should understock, right? I don't know.
Yeah, because you can't grow roots if you don't have any above ground growth, and you're just shooting yourself in the foot if you're just trying to keep taking and not giving. So
Soil test and fertility.
Soil test, fertility, watch your weed control. But it goes back and I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, and we've talked about this before on the podcast, but I feel like this latest run, we were able to manage stocking rate a little bit better than the 12-13. I feel like some areas were able to divest in their herd numbers a little bit quickly than we did back then, and I think some of the ground is better off. But I've also, y'all know, we can drive by ground that they didn't divest. They're now haying it, still got the cattle out there, and it's grubbed down, and that stuff is... it's almost doomed to failure if they don't get those numbers off, because they're stocked at a population for a good year.
Roger Gribble used to say, "Sacrifice your poorest ground,
Yeah.
and treat your good ground well."
Yep.
How do you convince a producer of that, though? I mean, you can't say you need to only have 4 cattle. But in reality, I mean, I did the analysis thing online, and this was back whenever there were heavy amount of cedar trees on there since they've been gone. But it said I should have 4 cattle on my 70 acres.
And how did that make you feel?
It made me feel. It kind of made me go, wow. In my mind, I was thinking 10, 15, maybe 20. I don't know. my wife's in charge of everything with a heartbeat. I'm in charge of growing stuff for the stuff with heartbeats. And so she said, our first year we were looking at maybe 10. But whenever I saw that 4 with the cedar trees that are no longer there but still have to grow back grass and stuff, it said 4. And I thought, wow, we're way off. And we're looking at separating the property, hay on one side, graze on the other side. And but how I was just curious, how does that producer go, but I really want 10. There's money to be made with 10 if I buy hay and if I do this and if I graze what's there. But in reality, that needs to take a break,
That's a hard question to answer. Chad, do you answer? You try to answer. I try to answer it. We get calls all the time.
Mm-hmm. All you can do is inform them.
Yeah.
You can't make them do anything. You can't
Right.
twist their arm. You can just tell them what research says and let them make their decision.
But then it's that the money in it. I mean, I can put down nitrogen. I can force it to grow and within rain reasons, but and then have the cattle graze it or just put it out like that. And it's like long term, you're not helping the land,
And everything's a cost.
and everything
Yeah.
is a cost. Yeah.
Well, I think the price of hay and price of grain helped a lot of people
Yeah.
divest quicker this year.
That's probably really true. I mean, that's probably a good point.
I've sent a lot of people to USDA for help.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know if they went, but they were
That's
provided the
the
information.
We all know a producer down in southern Oklahoma. This was the first year he has not had cattle, and he had 300 round bales ready to go, and he just couldn't make that pencil out, and so he had 300 round bales ready to go to be sold. And he needed to let it take a rest. He ran the numbers, and it was a good year to rest. I was just curious how someone needs to look at that and go, okay, maybe I need to sit back and just put 4 cattle out there.
Talk to one of your economists and help them go through the numbers for you. I mean, that's one good way. And then sometimes they just have to make their own decision. I mean, if they've got a lot of outside income, maybe that doesn't matter to them.
Right.
I mean that's that's reality in some situations, and that's their choice.
If you can't make it pencil out on paper,
Yeah.
you're not going to make
Yeah.
it.
Basically running a feed lot out of a dry lot.
Yep.
So
Right. And hurting the pasture at the
Right.
same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of scenarios where you might have several generations built up on genetics on your range.
Right. Yeah.
So we've seen that with disasters and stuff like that with wildfires, where it's a big blow to them. So
Let's say we get rain. Let's say northwest Oklahoma turns into utopia of grass and forage. Should producers still take that approach of thinking of it as a drought and then just reaping the benefits of a green year? I mean, because there is talk of one of the Ninas switching. I can't remember if it's La or L or one of them, but
Yeah.
we're transitioning.
We're transitioning into neutral,
Yeah.
which means we don't have a freaking clue.
Right. Looking forward, if we are given that opportunity, how do we change things?
So on an improved species, if you have a good stand and you get good rain, you didn't lose anything, you can push it pretty hard. On our natives that have suffered and been pushed hard, and so same thing on a native. If you've been managing your native and it was in good shape going in, meaning we've got 80-90% stand, don't have a lot of invasives, everything's going there, you could treat it like a normal year. But we got a lot of ground out there that's probably 40-50% stand of what you want. That's both on our improved and both on our native. So those need recovery. Then you got to think about our nutrients, P and K nutrients, to make sure we have root establishment, make sure we have good plant establishment. You got to consider your herbicides. Do we need to help out that struggling stand? It's basically like reestablishing a stand. Do we need to give it a little bit of competitive edge? As far as maybe some herbicide control. So to me, that goes back to where are you sitting at as far as your current situation to how you go to the next step.
like you said, some of these fields where we literally slicked it off to dirt, you have bare soil and you get rain and sunlight, you got weeds. So what do you want in the bell? A bunch of weeds or a bunch of hay?
Goats.
You just run goats.
You
Just run
even
goats.
talk about
You
goats.
can. I mean,
if you have a lot of broadleaves,
Yeah.
I mean
Broadleaves,
broadleaves. If they got
We're
multi-species,
talking about the deacon farm. I mean, you're talking
guys have
llamas,
goats and llamas?
goats, and
Alpacas,
alpacas.
thank you. They're
Same,
different.
same.
They're a compact car, and the llama is a sedan. This is the compact. At least that's what my wife says. Like I say, but
I'm interested in this. I mean,
I need to show you.
multi-species.
I need to
type
show
of
you the
thing.
drawing. We've got it all sketched out.
okay.
That's all. With no rain, that's all we can do is just sketch. So
Okay.
it's like over here we're gonna run this one. Now, speaking
That's
of,
penciling it out.
Yeah.
well done. Yes, I called it sketching. It's actually penciling. To that end, I do want to say, Dana, my wife went to the Cattle Women's Workshop in Chickasha
Oh.
in 22 and listened to you speak, and she learned a lot from you.
Oh,
and,
great.
And
Oh.
she really found a lot of great benefit in the Cattle Women. Am I using the name correctly?
Yeah, Cattle Women's Boot Camp. That's what we have, and we have another one coming up.
Oh yeah, and it's affordable. You learn a lot. I mean, it's so you want to be a cattle rancher, you need to learn all of this. And she, she has a background in livestock, but she found what you all had, to talk about very informative and found it very useful too. So
Oh, very good. That's great feedback.
yeah.
So speaking of anything coming up on your guys' agendas, any big meetings coming up in the next month or two, either at the Noble County or on the Northwest area side?
We have the Cimarron Ag Spring Conference coming up. We're offering six ODAF CEUs, so that's will be a big deal.
Which might be the day after this gets posted.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Come on.
Bring it on, right?
Registrate now. But that's not the only thing you have going on in Noble County. I mean, there are other things coming up in the spring and summer also.
Nathan and I in Payne County, we're working on a cleat livestock emergency program.
Really?
Ever lied to you before?
Hold on. Let me pop these down so we can talk about that. Okay. Okay. Now we got that straightened out.
Is that the right question to ask, Chad?
we discussed it off air, so it's all good now.
Okay, all right.
But that's really cool, and that talk about what that actually is. I love the look you give me. You're like,
In the past,
Dave.
you've done a really good job.
Yeah.
It prepares emergency managers to be able to handle livestock, right? Is that kind of what you're preparing? I mean,
yeah.
Okay. I just sorry to jump in, Chad.
It sounds like Dana's going to be teaching it.
I don't think
It does.
Oh, I've just done a few of them.
No,
before.
we're going to probably be work with the Extension DART team, where we have livestock emergencies come through, where like the police or the sheriff or high patrol run into an instance where there's cattle starving to death, or there was a trailer that turned over in the middle of the interstate, something like that.
Yeah.
We're trying to get these guys and gals to recognize, the difference between the bull and the steer and the heifer, between a long-eared cow to, different size and shape and body condition scores. So that way when they run upon it, they can inform somebody else, and then it helps some better identification. How to handle these cattle or these horses that are running loose. There's a lot of things that happen that some of these people don't know. A couple years ago, I guess 4, 5, 6 years ago now, did one in the Tulsa animal control came over. They didn't know one thing about cattle or horses.
Wow.
And they were scared to death of them.
I can remember back in my extension days, we were coming back from Indianapolis, and there was the tailgate on a trailer plopped open, and 3 longhorns stepped out at 70 miles an hour and boom, boom, and shut down the interstate. There's 3 longhorns running in the median, and we're from Oklahoma State University. We will go help.
Oh my gosh, you helped?
I wouldn't use the word help, but we ran alongside them for about 3 miles. And
Did you have a video of it?
Craig Woods does. I need to talk to him about that. But But we asked the trooper, I said, hey, what do you need us to do? We'll help. And he said, I have no idea. And so in Indiana, they had no idea either, but we were able to run alongside them for quite a ways and get them into a pasture, just, force them over a fence and get them into a pasture and off the interstate, because that's all we could think to do at that point. But it's great that there's educational opportunities like that you and Nathan are teaming up on for that. And that's coming up later on in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, super. And then and you guys have programs going on too, Josh and Dana?
Yeah, most of ours are starting around or kind of finish up, but we still have some pesticide trainings like Chad's got going on, and some more dicamba trainings and stuff we'll see next couple months.
Yeah, Cattle Women's Boot Camp. Sorry, Chad.
No, I was going to say, we got wheat demos planned.
Oh, yeah, we got all those types of things.
We got some wheat tours coming up in May.
Mm-hmm.
Right, we forgot about that. Yeah, Cattle Women's Boot Camp. I'm not sure if it's full yet, but we could probably put the link there. If they can see if they
we'll
register.
Do that.
Cow-calf boot camp, just regular cow-calf boot camp, which is just everybody at the end of April. I'm sure that's already full, but there's a lot of educator training that goes on during the summer, get out in fields and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So Josh and I are involved in a little bit of that too.
Then we have the extension experience.
Yes. Yeah, that's ongoing.
So what is that?
You guys are in your 10th year?
Oh, yeah, our 10th year.
12th, 13th?
I haven't even been here 10 years. Josh, I can't say that for Josh. All right, the podcast, the extension experience is, people are like, what's that? Well, it's a podcast. We came up with a weird name. I don't know. The podcast, we host lots of different subjects, a little agronomy, mostly livestock, just interview people. I've had a few producers on, so I try to do it. We try to do it every other week. Yeah, and
by and large, Dana carries the programs.
I'll get Josh in there. I'm going to have him. This coming up this growing season. Just be prepared. Josh is going to have.
That sounds like our Josh. He just doesn't really. He's just there.
No, it's a really fun thing. I enjoy it. I mean, as far as views for extension meetings, I mean, if you get 30 views in a week, I mean, to me, that's like a meeting.
Oh yeah,
that's great.
Exactly.
So I feel like it's just like a fun extra thing to do.
And we try to keep them a little bit small, so the commuters for 15, 20
minutes.
Short,
yeah. We try to keep them a little shorter.
We should try that. I know.
It's like an hour and a half, right?
Sometimes a half day,
Yes.
But we're looking for those folks that are on the big tractors that have got hundreds and thousands of acres to
auto steer and long drive.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly. So, well, thank you guys for sitting in with us on the Red Dirt Agronomy podcast, and we'll post links to everything that we talked about on here, and I guess next time we'll go to another county and we'll introduce that county educator too. Thanks for coming on with us, Chad.
You're welcome.
Most reluctantly coming on with us here. Thank you for listening in on this conversation of the Red Dirt Agronomy podcast. And if you'd like to join the next discussion, send us an email, podcast@reddirtagronomy.com, or send us a tweet. Our handle is reddirtag. We would like to thank Oklahoma State's Extension Area Agronomy Specialist, Josh Bouchon, and Livestock Specialist for the western part of the state, Dana Zook, as well as Noble County Extension Director, Chad Webb, for joining us on this podcast. To find out more about all of our guests, along with any of the resources that we talked about today on the podcast, visit reddirtagronomy.com. There you'll be able to find show notes, and you can listen to past episodes too. For Dr. Brian Arnell, I am Dave Deacon, and we would like to thank you for listening. The proceeding is a copyrighted recording of Agnow Media, LLC, 2023. And yes, all rights are reserved.